A few months ago, I directed my team at the White House to look into any new actions I can take to help reduce gun violence. And on Monday, I'll meet with our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, to discuss our options. Because I get too many letters from parents and teachers and kids to sit around and do nothing. I get letters from responsible gun owners who grieve with us every time these tragedies happen, who share my belief that the Second Amendment guarantees a right to bear arms, and who share my belief we can protect that right while keeping an irresponsible, dangerous few from inflicting harm on a massive scale.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, Daniel Henninger, deputy editor of the Wall Street Journal, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist and Fox News contributor, joins us. Happy New Year, Daniel.
Well, the same to you, Steve. At least let us hope.
Let us hope. Well, it's starting off with a bang, no pun intended, and that is the president keeping true to his promise. He met with Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and when he came back out of the meeting, lo and behold, guess what he found? That his planned executive orders on guns are well within his legal authority. Whew, that's a relief, because I thought he might be reneged by the Attorney General.
No such hope in this case. I think this Attorney General was only too happy to rubber stamp whatever the president wanted to do. But what the president wants to do, Steve, has already been debated by the United States Senate, and those ideas were rejected by the Senate. But once again, of course, this president has decided that the legislative branch, remember that, is basically something that he has to pay no attention to whatsoever. It's just like the laws or the executive pronouncements on climate change, which he also could not get through Congress. So here we have, going into 2016, an extension of the greatest presidential overreach probably since the presidency of Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah, well, you know what? He goes around now saying that the majority of Americans favor what he's about to do, and that's not necessarily true at all. A recent CNN poll showed that a majority did not want new gun laws. For the first time since they started doing this over 20 years ago, the New York Times latest poll showed that a plurality did not want any more restrictions on so-called assault weapons. So the mood of the country is not what he says. It's not what he says on climate change. It's not what he says on guns. It's basically not what he says on anything.
Well, that hasn't deterred him, has it?
No, he doesn't care.
I mean, you know, whenever he says or attempts something like this on guns, gun sales go through the roof,
yep,
as does sales of ammunition, because people are convinced that his intention is ultimately to indeed shut down the sale of guns. And if they were honest about it, that is precisely what they would propose. I mean, these sort of, as I continue our awful metaphors, pop gun proposals to sort of tighten registration on guns. No one actually believes that that's going to prevent the sorts of lunatics from getting their hands on guns in some of these terrible killings that happened in the last couple of years, or the terrorists of all people. I mean, they took an easy route getting the guns for San Bernardino, but surely no one believes that anyone that intent on committing crimes in the United States is going to be deterred by Barack Obama's executive actions on gun registration.
No, you're absolutely right. And when he says if we could save even one life, that is so disingenuous, then why don't we ban cars? Why don't we ban kids taking a bath or swimming in a swimming pool? I mean, that's outrageous to say something that's constitutionally guaranteed. If we could save one life, let's do it. I mean, that's a ridiculous argument. But he's making it.
Well, it is an Obama obsession, and if we know anything about this president, he cannot be deterred from his personal obsessions. I mean, the greatest one in the last year was the Iran nuclear deal, talking about danger from handguns in the United States. How about the danger of the Iranians now feeling free with his accord to pursue the development of ballistic missiles and a nuclear weapon?
Yep,
but,
absolutely.
you know,
yep.
He just could not be pushed off that, Steve, and he's not going to be pushed off this.
All right. You wrote a great piece, Donald Trump's apprenticeship, and you talk about how you, days before Christmas, got an unusual gift, the 5 DVDs that make up season 1 of Donald Trump's reality show. What did you learn from watching that season?
Well, I've got the DVDs right here next to me. I did It was actually a lot of fun.
Do you sleep with them?
No, no. Indeed, it keeps you awake. But you know what I learned is that what Donald Trump discovered is that people enjoy conflict. I mean, the Apprentice was built around conflict. Although it's supposed to be a team exercise, he essentially pits one team against the other, and then pits members of the team against each other. And as in his presidential campaign, people wonder about some of the things Trump is saying, and leaving aside the substance, that's another subject. But almost every other day, he finds another way to toss out what I would almost call an episode in the Trump campaign. One, for instance, was a week or so ago when he attacked Congressman Trey Gowdy, the head of the Benghazi Committee, for endorsing Marco Rubio. And people said, why the heck is he attacking Trey Gowdy of all people? Well, that was an example, and he just keeps it going, keeps the spotlight focused on himself. And plus, the other thing he learned in that program over the 10 years or so that he was in it is that Donald Trump, Steve, really does have a huge element of personal charisma. It's just one of these hard to pin down things that some people have and some don't.
Right.
And he's got it in spades, much more so than those other candidates, and he's exploiting that.
Absolutely. Very quickly, Bill Clinton went out of his way not to mention Trump and wouldn't answer a question about Trump after his little speech today. You think Trump's intimidating him?
I think he is. I mean, to his credit, I think he has kneecapped Hillary Clinton's war on women strategy. That was always sitting there, Steve, the problem Bill Clinton has had in the past of that sort. And it fell to Donald Trump to just go into her face and say, you bring this up, and I'm going to bring this stuff up relentlessly. I think he's done some damage to them.
And you think that that's the end of her bringing up the sexism stuff?
Well, I think she's going to downplay it. Certainly, if she does it with him, you know he's going to raise some of these incidents, Paula Jones and Juanita Broderick, one after another, and the press will have to recite what he is talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's put her in a tough spot.
Interesting. All right, listen, Daniel, Happy New Year again. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it as always.
All right. Same to you, Steve.
Daniel Henninger, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, the Malzberg panel. David Goodfriend and Roger Simon. Don't go away.